Israel attacks Hamas in Gaza tunnels. Israel said its forces fought Hamas gunmen inside the militants' vast tunnel network beneath the besieged Palestinian enclave of Gaza, seeking to free hostages and to push forward its campaign to wipe out the militant group. As the battle inside the tiny Hamas-ruled Palestinian territory intensified, Israel PM Benjamin Netanyahu dismissed international calls for a halt to the fighting. But UN and other aid officials warned that a health catastrophe was engulfing civilians in Gaza, with hospitals struggling to cope with mounting casualties and food, medicine, water and fuel running short. As Israel rained bombs on Gaza, huge explosions ripped through a crowded refugee camp. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry reported an initial toll of over 50 dead, 150 wounded, and dozens buried under the rubble, and said the damage at the Jabalia camp and the result of an attack by Israel. A spokesman for Israel's military said it was looking into the reports. Footage of the scene from Al Jazeera TV showed at least 4 large craters where buildings once stood. The tunnels under the cramped enclave are a prime objective for Israel as it expands a 4-day-old ground offensive after 3 weeks of aerial bombardment into Gaza from the north to hit Hamas in retaliation for the Islamist group deadly surprise attacks into southern Israel on October 7. Some of the 240 hostages that Israel says were seized by Hamas that one day are believed to be held in the tunnel complex, adding a further complication for the Israelis on top of difficulties of fighting in an urban setting. Over the last day, combined IDF struck approximately 300 targets, including anti-tank missiles and rocket launch posts below shaft, as well as military compounds inside underground tunnels belonging to the Hamas terrorist organization. Indians can visit Thailand visa-free from November 10 to May 10 next year. Indians can visit Thailand without a visa from November 10 to May 10, according to Thai tourism, and stay there up to 30 days. The country has now waived visa requirement for citizens of India and Taiwan in a bid to get more tourists. This September it had done so far for Chinese nationals. For Indian globetrotters, this is the second such announcement within a week. Sri Lanka recently announced visa-free entry for visitors from 7 countries including India, China, Russia as a part of pilot project. After COVID, Indian travelers are being wooed aggressively by the tourism boards of several countries. India has been Thailand's 4th largest source market for tourism so far this year, with about 12 lakh arrivals after Malaysia, China and South Korea. Indian government data shows the number of Indians travelling abroad constantly rose from this to this. Then after 2 pandemic years of travel restrictions and close orders, it again rebounded to this last year. Serious terror threat to US since IS, FBI boss. The attack by Hamas on Israel will inspire the most significant terror threat to the US since the rise of IS nearly a decade ago, FBI Director Christopher Wray said at a congressional hearing on Tuesday. Wray said that since the start of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in Gaza earlier this month, multiple foreign terrorist organizations have called for attacks against Americans and the West, significantly raising the threat posed by homegrown US violent extremists. The action of Hamas and its allies will serve as an inspiration, the likes of which we haven't seen since IS launched its so-called caliphate several years ago, Wray said. The remarks came during a hearing before the US Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee focused on threats to the US. Afghans head to border in Pak ahead of anti-migrant crackdown deadline. Large number of Afghans crammed into trucks and buses in Pakistan on Tuesday, heading to the border to return home ahead of the expiration of Pakistani government deadline for those who are in the country illegally to leave or face deportation. The deadline is a part of new anti-migrant crackdown that targets all undocumented or unregistered foreigners. According to Islamabad, the expulsion campaign has drawn widespread criticism from UN agencies, right groups, and the Taliban-led administration in Afghanistan. Pakistani officials warn that people who are in the country illegally face arrest and deportation. After October 31, UN agency says there are more than 2 million undocumented Afghans in Pakistan, at least 6 lakh of whom fled after the Taliban takeover in 2021. Pichai defend Google search dominance in landmark antitrust trial. Testifying in the biggest US antitrust case in a quarter century, Google CEO Sundar Pichai defended his company's practice of paying Apple and other tech companies to make Google the default search engine on their devices, saying the intent was to make the user experience seamless and easy. The Department of Justice contends that Google pays off tech companies to lock out rival search engines to smooth competition and innovation. According to court documents, the payments came to more than $26 billion in 21, a year in which operating expenses for Google parent firm Alphabet were nearly $68 billion. Google contends that it dominates the market because its search engine is better than the competition's. We are working very hard for any given query. We provide the best experience, Pichai said. Born in India, Pichai joined Google in 2004. Before becoming CEO, he helped develop Google Chrome, the world's most popular web browser, and was named to the company's top job in 2015. He is also CEO of Google's parent company Alphabet. Under his leadership, the company's net income ballooned to $60 billion last year from $19.5 billion. The first full year of Alphabet's operation as Google's star defense witness, Pichai testified Monday that Google's payment to phone manufacturers and wireless phone companies were partly meant to nudge them into making costly security upgrades and other improvements to their devices. Keep details of electoral bond donations ready, Supreme Court tells Election Commission. The Supreme Court on Tuesday said it would reuse details of donations to political parties through the electoral bond route, a move that could discomfit parties which have been in office because of the possibility, as underlined by the petitioners, of a quid pro quo between the donors and regimes favored by them. During the hearing on a bunch of petitions challenging the validity of anonymous funding of parties through electoral bonds, a bench of CJI D.Y. Chandrachud and Justices Sanjeev Khanna said you may have details of donations made to political parties through electoral bonds as per the interim order. Do keep it with you in court. We may look into it in an appropriate time, the CJI-led bench told Sharma. Cop shot in third targeted attacked in 3 days in Jammu and Kashmir. Worst air for season, AQI deeper in very poor range. Delhi's air quality slipped deeper into the very poor range on Tuesday, staying in the category of the fourth day running, with the day's AQI at 359 as against 347 a day earlier. This was the worst average air quality in a day recorded the season so far. A haze hung over the country with visibility dropping to 800 meters at Palam and 1200 meters at Safdarjung. On Tuesday morning, visibility remained low at Palam through the day at 2000 meters. Meanwhile, air quality so far this year has been the second best after 2020. MCD House passes proposal to regularize 5K sanitation workers. The AAP Government Municipal Corporation of Delhi on Tuesday passed 54 out of 58 proposals, including the regularization of 5,000 sanitation workers. The approval came amid protests from the opposition, with BJP alleging The proposals were passed without following due process and Congress slamming AAP over lack of measures to check dengue and pollution. Saying AAP had fulfilled that we promised, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal posted on X, "Many congratulations to all the confirmed sweepers and their families for their wonderful gift received on Diwali. We are serving the people of Delhi wholeheartedly, and together we will make the Delhi a cleaner and beautiful city." Mayor Shelley Oberoi said AAP had shown concern for MCD employees with about 3,000 domestic breeding checkers who have been fighting for their rights for years being made multitasking staff. Apart from this, to dispose of legacy waste scientifically at the Okhla and Ghazipur landfill sites, we have given administrative approval for hiring a concessionaire for biomining of 50 lakh tons of waste. After the formation of the sanitation standing committee, these proposals will taken further, she told a press conference. Installation of all 6 steel spans for Delhi section of RRTS completed. National Capital Region Transport Corporation has completed the installation of all 6 special steel spans for the Delhi section of the regional rapid transit system. These steel spans have been installed one after the other, making it the only place on the entire RRTS corridor where such a long viaduct is being constructed with special steel spans. These special steel spans have been established to cross the Ghazipur drain and Kondli roundabout from the new Ashok Nagar towards Anand Vihar. Special steel spans are massive structures consisting of beams made of structural steel. NCRTC first manufactures the segments of structural steel in the factory and then ladens them into trailers to bring them to the site during the night to avoid any traffic problems. These parts are then assembled at the site by systematically joining together with the help of special process. The shape and structure of these steel spans are specially designed to suit all the requirements of construction, installation and usage. Politics of appeasement doesn't see terror for what it is, Modi. Ahead of the assembly polls in 5 states, PM Modi on Tuesday sharpened his broadside against his political opponents, saying that the politics of appeasement and lethargic approach in punishing terrorists has been the biggest obstacle in India's journey of development. The last many decades in India are witness to the fact that appeasers never see terrorism and its monstrosity for what they are. Appeasers don't hesitate to stand by enemies of humanity. Politics of appeasement is biggest hurdle in India's development, the PM said at a gathering at a Statue of Unity in Kevadia on the birth anniversary of India's first Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, commemorated at National Unity Day since Modi took office. Without naming the former Congress-led UPA government, Modi said people have still not forgotten those periods when they were apprehensive before going to crowded places. There are a conspiracy to hold the country's progress by targeting festivals, markets, public places and centers of economic activity. The PM accused the opponents of having conveniently neglected investigating terrorist activities. People have seen the devastation wreaked by blast and the lethargy of the then government in the name of investigation. This mentality of appeasement was so dangerous that it led them to save terrorists in courts. Such a mindset cannot benefit any community or country, he said, adding that people should not let the country relapse into a similar situation. Modi said in the last 9 years, India's internet security faced numerous challenges from multiple fronts, but unlike the past, the nefarious designs of the country's enemies were foiled due to the hard work of the security forces. Besides being aimed at the UPA era, which was marked by a relentless campaign by terrorists, Modi's remark appeared to be referring to the criticism of the government by Congress left and other in the opposition for abstaining from last week's vote in the UN General Assembly over a resolution that called for a pause in Israel's ground offensive against Hamas in Gaza. Maharashtra moves forward in Kunbi plan, but activists seek blanket OBC quota. Fasting Maratha quota crusader Manoj Jarange reiterated Tuesday his demand for blanket OBC reservation for the entire community, doing so hours after the state government moved forward on a plan to link such benefits to holders of a Kunbi caste certificate. None of the decisions taken by the government on Tuesday are acceptable to us. The state should abstain after distributing Kunbi certificates. If the government fails to take a decision till Wednesday evening, I will quit voter again. J&K leader in implementing central plans. LG. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha painted an optimistic picture of the region on the occasion of Union Territory Divas on Tuesday, highlighting advancement in the economy, tourism, education, industry, healthcare and infrastructure during the 4 years since the abrogation of Article 370 and the division of the state into 2 union territories. The J&K administration celebrated its achievements and transformation at a function on Lal Chowk in Srinagar. Sinha claimed that J&K stands among the top states and UTs in India in implementing central schemes. The LG highlighted several achievements including the successful hosting of G20 Tourism Working Group meeting and the substantial increase in the number of tourists visiting the region, which stood at 5.21 crore visitors since 2019. He underscored the growth in the industrial sector with investment proposals worth rupees this and employment promises from more than 3 lakh people. Sinha noted the improved quality of life and for J&K residents with a reduction in disruptions like Bandh and Hartals. He emphasized the focus on welfare, peace, infrastructure development, a green revolution and inclusively in the region. J&K has been successful engaging more than 60 lakh youth in different sports activities organized at district, block and UT levels in 2023. In comparison to the just 1.2 lakh in 18-19. However, opinions on the region's development varied widely as several political parties expressed concern over the alleged lack of progress since J&K's downgrade to the Union Territory. Because of Patel, we have today's India, says Shah. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday said the country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari has been united due to the unforgettable contribution and determination of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Addressing an event here to commemorate India's first Home Minister Sardar Patel's 148th birth anniversary, Shah asked all citizens to take a pledge to make the nations the very best in the world in all sectors by 2047 when it will celebrate the centenary of its independence. It was because of Patel that we have today's India. It was due to his unforgettable contribution that the whole country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari is united. Without Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's contribution and farsightedness, we should not have been here today, he said. Supreme Court won't study validity of corporate poll funds. The Supreme Court on Tuesday refused to examine the soundness of corporate funding for political parties while determining the validity of the contentious electoral bond route of anonymous donations by big companies, a policy which petitioners claimed had conferred huge financial advantage on parties in office at the center and states during elections. Appearing for a petitioner, Congress functionary Jaya Thakur, senior advocate Kapil Sibal told a bench of Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justices Sanjeev Khanna this that corporate funding through electoral bonds had no connection with the electoral process and was used by parties to yield power in the political arena as capital in power in every sector, including politics. How could corporate houses donate to political parties without informing their shareholders? He asked. Electoral bonds are designed to keep the identity of donors confidential, so a shareholder will not be informed about money going from the company, he said. From personal experience, I can inform the court that no one donates huge sums running into crores without informing the political party and what quid pro quo the donor expects. This is punishable under both Prevention of Corruption Act and Prevention of Money Laundering Act, as paying money in exception of a favor in an offence under these laws. But because the donor's identity in electoral bonds are kept confidential, it is an instrument to encourage crime, Sibal said. Telangana in Supreme Court against government delay in clearing bills, alleging a constitution deadlock due to non-cooperation of the governor who was not giving as assembly. The Tamil Nadu government on Tuesday moved the Supreme Court seeking specific timelines for the constitutional authority to act. The governor's inactions have caused a constitutional deadlock between the constitutional head of the state and the elected government. By not acting upon constitutional functions, the governor is toying with the citizens' mandate, the petition said. The state said it has filed a petition to declare that the inaction, omission, delay and failure of comply with the constitutional mandate by the governor of Tamil Nadu on the consideration and assent of bills passed and forwarded by the state legislature to him and the non-consideration of files, government orders and policies forwarded by the state government for the signature was unconstitutional, illegal or arbitrary, unreasonable, besides malafide exercise of power. It said 12 bill passed by assembly files pertaining to the accord of sanction for prosecution and investigation of various crimes of corruptions by public servants and files as pertaining to the premature release of prisoners forwarded by the governor were pending with the government sitting on the bills indefinitely and refusing to look into the files forwarded by the state in exercise of the constitutional function by the governor amounts to abuse of his powers and is also in violation of articles 14, 19, 21 of constitution, the petition said. GDP numbers to surprise on the upside. Thus, RBI Governor Shaktikant Das has said the GDP growth for the second quarter of financial year 24 is likely to surpass expectations based on early indicators. The central bank had projected a GDP growth of 6.5% for the second quarter, which aligns with the full year growth forecast for financial year 24. Looking at the momentum of economic activity and several early data points and indicators that have emerged, I can confidently say that the second quarter GDP figures expected to be released at the end of November in all probability will surprise everyone on the upside, said Das. The governor made these remarks during a fireside chat at a banking event organized by Business Standard on Tuesday. At the same time, Das highlighted geopolitical risk and their potential impact on financial markets as the key concerns. The most significant challenge for every country is evolving geopolitics and new flashpoints. Today, I believe this poses the biggest risk to global growth, Das added. Pak pack a punch after his fifth delivery against Bangladesh at the Eden Gardens on Tuesday. Pakistan pacer Shaheen Shah Afridi spread his arms high and wide. They were like wings that put his team on the flight of fancy. He had sent Bangladesh opener Tanjeed Hassan back with the slate still clean. Iyer put on short notice. Struggling India's number 4 tries to iron out his frailties against bouncer in the nets ahead of Sri Lankan game. Was it by design? At the Team India's optional nets 2 days before their World Cup encounter against Sri Lanka at the Wankhede Stadium on Thursday, the first three to take strike were Suryakumar Yadav and Ishan Kishan, with Shreyas Iyer batting in the throwdown net some distance away towards the Vijay Merchant stand. All three swept position soon. Messi not thinking about long-term future after claiming record extending Ballon d'Or for World Cup heroics. 8 Ballon d'Or for Messi. My performance this season was short of my best. Neeraj, Olympic and world champion Neeraj Chopra on Tuesday said he was not pleased with the distances he covered with his javelin during the recently concluded competition season and that his best is yet to come, with the Paris Games just 9 months away. This season, Neeraj became the world champion and successfully defended his Asian Games titles beside finishing second at Diamond League finals. I feel this year my performance was short of my best. Next year I'll do my best. I want to say this very clearly that my best is yet to come. I have not felt in a competition for a long time that I have done my best or done near my best, Neeraj said at a promotional event here. While accepting that he needed to work on his technique, strength and flexibility for the Paris Olympics, the 25-year-old said that his preparations for the games will be very different from Tokyo. Next year I'll improve on my technique and will work more on my strength and flexibility. If I remain in 100% fit and my groin is alright, I will do well in Paris. The preparations will be very different this time. I have visualized those things and I am confident that I will be able to apply them. My technique was not that great at the Hangzhou Asian Games. My leg work was not that good and my blocking leg was bending during throws. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.